His stories about his LCG champ designing and like the shit that Lucas pulls with it are really funny too.
Malucci is one of my favorite Fantasy Flight card slinger characters. Tom, I love Tom.
He is like a character. He's not even like a real person. The Looch is larger than life.
I mean, he's on fire this year with Thrones. He took Red Saturday, second place at Thrones.
Can we do this? Because I'd like to be done before like tomorrow.
Yeah, let's get rolling.
We're live, so.
Oh,
hey! This whole conversation was live.
All right.
How much of that was live?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to. Excuse me. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Second Sons Season 3, Episode 7. As always, I am Roy Rogers, formerly of the New York City Meta, currently living in Philadelphia, and I'm joined today by Aaron Glazer's cell phone. Hi, Aaron Glazer's cell phone. How are you?
Hi, Roy of the Brotherhood. I'm doing well.
Oh, love you too, Glaze. All right. And mastering us from the future, making sure that this technical side works, is everyone's favorite, well, I guess second favorite Swede. I don't know. Where would you rate Jakob, like, in comparison to you, Buzz?
Depends if you like nice people or mean people.
Yeah,
That's true.
We're one person, just different.
Different sides.
People
You're
that
a
play that.
Yanis-faced Swedish beauty right there, right?
Yes.
So how you doing, Buzz?
It's early, so ask me again in 2 hours or something.
Well, this is more friendly to you, though, right? Like Saturday morning,
Yes,
right?
yes.
then
Now
it
I can
became more-
adjust.
There we go. All right. And then, of course, we're joined by the protagonists of this little story that we're going to be telling today, which is several members of the SoCal Meta. How are you doing today, Sid?
I'm doing great, man. It's Friday night for me, so my weekend's just getting started. It's nice to kick off the weekend with all you fine gentlemen.
And how are you doing, my king, Chris? How are you?
You know, for a near Sansa king, just barely missed. I'm doing okay. Baseball's back. We got this sweet thing coming out that we'll talk about in a little bit, and yeah, life is good.
And then we have the reigning group, or I guess group. What would it be? Group team champion with us. How are you doing today, Johnny?
Really good. I'm happy to be here for my one and only Second Sons podcast. So I don't get asked back on podcasts. I'm always awful.
Except banter. You've been on banter a couple times, haven't you?
Yeah, but banter's
Well,
always
so
awful.
I did a banter episode. Yeah. Well, they had me back, but they said you can have 5 minutes. And
Is that the episode where they? Is that the episode where they fell asleep, or is that why that happened?
No, Peel got sick in the middle of the first episode. Sick. He might have fallen asleep.
You were on the Christmas episode, right? Weren't you this year?
Yeah.
Or last year? Yeah.
That was my 5 minutes.
Okay. So, well, before we jump into what's going to be our main topic today, which is Thrones War, shortly before...
Wait, can I tell my John Bruno story?
Sure, tell your John Bruno story.
So I'm at work, and my co-teacher is a big Destiny fan, the Star Wars game, not the other Destiny. And he's like, hey, who's the best Thrones player? I'm like, I don't know where this is going, but why do you know who John Bruno is? And he's like, how do you know that I'm talking about John Bruno? Is he that good? I was like, no, but why do you know who John Bruno is? He's like, I was watching like all this Destiny stuff, and they kept having this Thrones champ on, and he was like this older guy, and he was really good at Thrones, and he won like 2 years in a row. And I'm like, yep.
He's talking about Tiny's YouTube channel and podcast.
Is he really?
Yeah, Tiny has John on all the time because they play together now. Like, John is crushing local Destiny tournaments in the North LA area.
Oh, well, I guess that makes sense. But he's like, how did you know who I was talking about that quickly? I was like, no one else brags quite as much as John. while pretending he's not.
That sounds right. That sounds accurate.
My John Bruno story is I got to talk to John at Thrones War. He was very nice. Fun story.
It was really hard for Roy to hide his erection.
It was very difficult. But I mean, that's just usually life. But anyway.
Does that make Roy the White Walker on First Snow?
Ooh.
One of many.
Too real. All right. So before we really jump into Thrones War, there is one announcement that came out right before we went live, so I think we should talk about it in typical Second Sons, which is that Fantasy Flight kind of, I guess, at the end of business in Minnesota when it was announced, I think, that they are doing a full bleed. Call
it correctly. Extended art.
Extended art.
Extended art, and it's not full bleed because the text is still on there.
That's true. Excuse me. A extended art version of Joe of the Brotherhood Without Manners World Championship deck. So there are many things I want to say about this. One, well, not many things. One exact thing. Thank everyone that Joe played the most straightforward bullshit Lannister world deck. So now we all will have all the good Lannister cards and most of the good Stark cards as these full bleed arts. So Joe and I, we have our differences in politics when it comes around politics and when politics around Thrones. But I will thank Joe on the air for making sure that I will have these nice full bleed cards for all of the bullshit Lannister cards and bullshit Stark cards.
You want to get mad at Joe really fast?
Sure.
He only ran 2 nightmares.
That was embarrassing.
See, betrayal.
But he only ran 1 Gregor, so I'm gonna have to buy 3 decks.
I know, and 1 tickler too. Now, geez, have to buy
but
some.
3 Tywins and that's all that really matters at the end of the day. 3 Tywins, 3 Tyrions,
3
Boom.
Fast Eddies too. That's
3
good.
Fast Eddies, 3 Arias, right? There's 3 Arias in there.
I think there's actually 2 Arias,
Two?
but I might be making that up.
Now that's even more tragic than the nightmares. Those Arias. That's some sweet Arya art. That's all I'm saying. I
He's
want
playing
the
wrong Cersei though, so.
Oh yeah.
That
Not
one
the
wasn't out, though, I don't think, was it?
Yes,
I
it
guess-
was.
yeah.
It was Reigns of
Oh, yeah, I
Castamere.
guess it was.
Worlds.
Yeah,
Was it Legion?
The box was
Oh
available.
yeah, it was. Yeah.
just barely.
Excuse me.
Wait, no, the box wasn't out.
Not at
No,
Worlds.
it wasn't.
That was
it was for
that was
Stalin.
the big deal.
Oh, Stalin.
Yeah, that was like the whole point was that we were mad the box wasn't out.
Was it? Oh, it's already.
I don't remember it. Shit. Got beat by that damn deck.
Yeah, if the box was out, I would have been playing Lanny Jumpers. Like,
So, what do you all have to think about this? Is this something you think we'll see going forward, or do you just sort of think it's, I don't know, FFG just really likes Joe? I don't know. What do you think?
Does anyone, dude? Hold on, because Keith doesn't really like Joe, so like that's not it.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there, sparking conversation. What do you all think?
I think it's a great idea. You know, I mean, let's put Joe aside for a minute. Like, it doesn't really that doesn't matter to me. It's just a good move, right? They did it with Netrunner. I don't know how popular it was with Netrunner. I don't play Netrunner, but I remember thinking as soon as I saw that announcement for Netrunner that was a great idea, and then they need to really quickly do it for Thrones. And I mean, I guess they did, right? We wouldn't want it for back in 1.0 as the game was ebbing out. So we get it with the first real kind of full 2.0 championship deck. We've got it, and as long as they keep doing it, I think it's a great move. I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it.
Hell yeah!
I don't give.
I'm definitely in for multiple copies of it.
Really?
Unless
I
if every
Cooper's
card
good.
said like played by world champion, then I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't be able to do it. But
The
it looks
box
like they're
is going
clean.
to
They look
say
clean.
that.
The box, dude.
Like,
That's
the box is going to
But I
have his
threw away
name
the
on
box.
it.
Come on, Johnny. You just throw the box away, keep the cards.
Right.
So
It actually it'll feel good. It'll be therapeutic to like watch it burn. Just kind of strike a match to
I
that
don't-
box.
Can I just?
Slide
Like, here's
those
the thing:
cards
you can never use those cards at an event that he might be at.
No,
Or
you're
that
right.
Any of those guys.
Never.
Like, you can never, ever use those cards if there is a chance that you might run into those guys.
Hey, can I just say that FFG embracing Joe Mirando as Damon Stone leaves the company is the most America thing possible right now?
that's the content you turn.
But how much of an embrace is it? They didn't even tell him they were doing it. He was as surprised as anybody when he saw the announcement.
So was America.
Oh, by the way, that is the most FFG thing.
Right. To not even tell the winner.
Not
Take
telling
him
Joe.
Ooh.
Real nice. I love that.
So Keith had to message him to tell him.
Honestly, like you were asking, is this going to continue going forward? I think that's dependent on the players. Like Lucas said, I don't know how well the Netrunner one sold, but if people buy it, that means it's going to happen again. So if you want to see it every year, buy a copy, buy 3, like I'm going to do, like a degenerate.
That is really degenerate, dude.
I need
You have all those cards in triplicate anyway.
I need 3 Gregors. How am I going to get 3 full art Gregors otherwise? It's not going to happen.
Tickler again. Tickler.
Also, Emery Lorch. Like, ticklers, whatever. But I need 3 of the full Emery Lorch.
And you'll have 6 milks of the poppy, right? So there you go.
6
And
6
the-
9 Tywins.
No, only not with the 2 times.
No, he's right.
Right, yeah.
Right, you're really
9.
bad at math.
Bad at math.
2 times 3, and he's like,
No,
wow, I'm
six,
lost.
But
Royce
the
is
price
doing
point's supposed to be like
flu
$15,
math,
right?
2 plus 2
$15
plus 1
isn't
plus
bad.
1, 2 plus 1 plus
15
1.
bucks. It's a chapter pack. That's perfect. Perfect
That-
price point.
The price point shocked me. I was very excited about the price point because I was
What's the price
expecting it to
point? I
be
missed
$20 or $25. It's 15. It's
15.
a chapter pack.
That's a
Yeah,
chapter
that's
pack.
acceptable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
no, and I think actually,
Like they
and
could have
this is-
sold it for 20, I think, and probably people would have bought it.
oh, definitely, and I think
Don't tell
actually
them that.
the good thing about this particular deck that Joe played is it is actually a good entry level deck. Like its game plan is very straightforward. Like I don't mean that it's not like
Yes, you do, right?
That's-
yeah,
that
Say
is-
it,
that's-
say
that's
it,
the
mean it,
best.
own it.
That is.
you just play
Alex
good
wrote that.
Lannister cards and good Stark cards and you win games. Like
Hey, in fairness, at least half of that statement is true of Chris and Gen Con too. So really,
sure.
it's just where the game
So
was.
funny anecdote. I sent in case it wasn't known, I asked Seth for permission to record the game, the finals game, and not put it on the air. But and I asked him before the game started because win or lose, I wanted to go back and watch it. It's kind of a big event for me. It's definitely the biggest tournament I'd ever been in the finals of. So win or lose, I wanted to watch the finals. So I recorded it, and Rob sent me the video. And I'm not distributing it, but I did allow Jonathan Benton, who's a very good friend of mine, to watch it. And he texted me. He was like, "Holy crap! I thought you were going to lose that game, and I know how it ends."
Well, I mean, I was just recently at Chris's house, and I know you recorded it because he has a small TV set up, which is when Chris is about to win the game, it's just Seth's heart shattering. Like you could just see the moment.
It's like the rose petal in Beauty and the Beast.
Or that like Ralph Wiggum thing where Bart keeps rewinding and watching again his heart just break. That's Chris just has that on a constant loop in his house. Right below with the trophy right below it. And so
It's what he thinks about when he needs to finish because he wants to go to sleep.
all right. So have we talked out this wonderful topic?
I think so.
Okay, good. So
I'm psyched for it. I just like I said on the thread,
I don't
whenever they
know.
want to print the Continentals champion version of it, I'm down.
the people's champion. All right. So Thrones War. What do we think? Do we want to go in ascending order? So we would start at the bottom with Sid and then work our way up from the
Hey,
experience.
whoa, the bottom. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, 23rd. I'm 23rd. You were 20.
Thrones War is a team event, all right?
Okay.
Team event. My team took 4th, all right? Team event.
Okay, I'm just saying. Sid.
Right.
I'm just saying.
At least you're admitting now that it was 4th, and you're not trying to claim tie for 3rd.
No, we were 3rd going into the last round, or going into top 4, but as soon as Night's Watch made it to top 4 and we got knocked out, then they bumped us on the tie.
So before we really jump into this, Johnny, since you won the team event, why don't you explain a little bit for people who may not know exactly what Thrones War is, what Thrones War is, and sort of how the team event works?
Sure. Well, first, it's WAR stands for Weekend at Ryan's, because this is an event hosted by Ryan Jones in his house most
Wow,
often. Or at least
Wow, Johnny, you really are the worst at podcasts. Look at that. We are not an explain things podcast.
I
do
just
it.
asked him to explain.
Yes, but no one follows your instructions, Roy.
Okay.
Mute Aaron.
So Thrones War is Thrones War is an event I do very well at every year, and
And my first year,
okay.
I played.
Uh-huh.
The
So it's a
year
team
you won
event,
the individual, was that your second year, Johnny?
that was my first year.
You won your first
It
year.
was, as Kevin did last year. He repeated it though. I scrubbed out.
Scrubbed out in top 8.
And
Guys, but it's team play.
Team
It's
game.
team play.
So you won.
There are
You
eight-
won.
Talk about how you won, how you crushed
Yeah.
the field.
Yeah, stop talking bad about yourself.
Wait, Crush?
That's the shirt he was wearing all weekend, by the way.
That was.
Just Saturday. It's been washed. So it's divided by factions, and every win counts to your team's total. And we had the most team wins last year, or this year.
So what he's saying is they won the tournament.
Right.
Johnny's team, which was Martell, won the tournament.
And they were playing some pretty nasty decks.
Wait, I thought we weren't an explaining podcast, Glazer. Why did you extrapolate that for everyone?
Because I'm an explaining asshole. But we're not an explaining podcast.
So yes, Johnny won. Martel was running a brutal series of decks. Who had the largest number of people in the cut going into it? Was it Martel or Barra?
It was us. We had
It was
4.
you guys too. You had 4. Okay, and then so Martel really just had a really solid day. I mean, I got run over by Chris Thompson in the final sort of decider match. So I definitely saw the brutality of the decks you guys ended up bringing. So it was a really good. I think the meta played in many ways to Martel's strength as well. Just the fact that you had to play all 8 factions and could isolate some of the weaker matchups like Night's Watch. So it was really well played. Guys.
I think Thrones War in general plays to Martel, just because like Martel plays kind of crooked from everyone else. Like if the game goes one way, Martel tends to go the other. And I think that's an advantage in a perfectly balanced tournament like Thrones War.
Well, also the fact that everybody was running Valor decks and you guys were running Varus, and there was a million Banner Krakens and Iron Minds that do shit against Varus helps.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We ran Varus and First Snow. Like pretty much every deck had one of those, and let Valor do work for us on the other side.
Yeah, brutal. So, Sid, how did Team Tyrell do?
Team Tyrell did great in our matchup with Team Martel. We feasted on them. We absolutely ate them for breakfast. I don't know how they won the tournament. I have no
3 and
concept.
5.
We did our job.
3 and 5.
Tyrell just crushed them. And then suddenly, no, Tyrell did great, actually. I'm super proud of my team. We were in first place after round 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we had kind of this really long stretch in the middle where we were just right at the top.
And then
our last
every
2
game.
rounds. No. Well, we lost enough games. We lost enough games in the last 2 rounds. Greyjoy was our big bane. Greyjoy just kind of ran over us. And we lost it. We lost our grip on first. But it was exciting, right? That made it exciting. We were kind of the house to beat for those middle rounds. But it was really close. I mean, we're always up by 1 or 2 above the teams that were kind of right there in the hunt. But then Martel just kind of sprang ahead of everybody by multiple wins. They crushed it the last couple rounds.
I think we were in second pretty much like from the half the day on, just like hovering.
Yeah, little fun fact is Johnny was the only one who was in a bidding war with me for Tyrell. I think he was thinking the same thing I was, and I thought I was going to get him for real cheap and be able to have some extra spending power on the team. But Johnny just kept driving me up, and I knew I didn't want to play Martel. Like I had no interest in playing Martel, but I knew he in his head's like, I'll just play Martel. Like it's not a big deal. So he keeps driving me up, and I pay probably more than I should have. But even with that, I was super happy with Tyrell. We had a blast. I mean, the rules of Thrones War are you have to have a minimum of 3 agendas, but we ended up with 5, just because we had a really kind of cool team that liked to play different decks, and everyone did really well. I mean, we didn't have anybody who did really poorly on the day. I mean, like I said, we were right there at the top for the whole day. Just couldn't quite pull it out at the end. Oh, so sad.
So wait, who is Team Tyrell's top performer?
David Keller. He went top 8, lost to John Bruno in the top 8 on tiebreakers. It was
Tiebreakers.
brutal.
It was who won dominance.
Guys,
That was the
okay,
game.
that's a
on
fine
Facebook.
tiebreaker. That's a totally fine tiebreaker. Like, if you guys counted cards, I would have just yelled at you.
Oh no,
Son of
we
a-
did,
did.
and they tied on cards.
Well, the thing was
They
that
tied on
Bruno would have just straight up won with cards, but he didn't know that
Oh, okay.
the tiebreaker was, so he drew
No,
off
he knew
red
the
king.
tiebreaker. He didn't know that a random army had gotten a renown from Longclaw.
He thought he was winning by one. He didn't even look at a character with renown.
Okay, I thought he didn't know that the tiebreaker was.
No, he
John
knew the
doesn't play
tiebreakers.
that regularly, so.
Oh wait, so you did it based on cards? That's disappointing.
Well, but it was exact
But
time.
Didn't matter. They both had 12.
tiebreakers.
They were 12
Yeah, but I
cards.
still wouldn't do it. Like, it's your own tournament. You don't have to follow every stupid made-up rule FMT
I
has.
agree. I would have actually preferred they just play one more round.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's your tournament. Why not?
Because people want consistency with the overall FFG experience, like tournament experience that they're used to. That's all.
No, they don't.
No,
They don't. It's
yeah,
Thrones
no,
War. It's already a
and-
completely different format.
Yeah, really.
Fine, but
Also-
you have to put that in writing ahead of time. You can't tell people,
No, I
we're
agree.
suddenly changing the tiebreaker.
I don't think it should have been changed on the fly.
Yes, because they might have planned it to have the exact same number of cards in their deck. The most
No,
random
I
fucking
don't
thing in the
plan.
world. Johnny, who is your top performer?
Chris Thompson and Sean McCollum both in the top 8.
Nice. Did any two-time world champions who tell everyone about it all the time beat them?
Yeah, Bruno beat Sean, but in the Swiss.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
on stream. It's one of the stream games. John and Sean.
Guys, if you'd like to hear about how great Bruno is, watch those games.
You can also watch Bruno play Malucci as well,
And
right?
that John makes. I mean, I think Malucci kind of had it the whole time, but John, I gave John a ride home after Thrones War, and we talked about that play quite a bit, and it was the mistake of the stream for sure. In his game with Malucci, he makes the mistake. Sad.
Spoilers.
Yeah, he should not.
Yeah, you got to
Spoilers.
tune in to see the mistake.
Spoilers. John Bruno did not win Thrones War. Spoilers for something that we've already repeatedly said.
He should get kicked off that Destiny podcast.
I'll let Tiny know tomorrow when I see him.
Good call.
He will be playing at a Destiny event at the same store while I will be playing at a Thrones Store Championship tomorrow. So
Ooh, what are you taking? This isn't live, and no one from SoCal's in the chat.
that's right. I haven't decided yet, but it might be the deck that Johnny played last night because it was hilarious.
Johnny, what deck you play last night? Ruin Chris's shit. He won the North American Championship.
Chris,
This is a
Chris
story
can tell
championship.
you if he wants. I don't know.
Oh,
It's landing
The
jumpers,
chat,
but
the
it's
chat will
spicy.
let you know. Like
Jumpers, man. It always comes back
Yeah.
to jumpers.
It's true. There's all, that's why Sid's on this podcast as Landing Jumpers. So
it is. That's how.
That's awesome. The only reason, as soon as people stop playing jumpers, they'll be like, "Why is this guy still on this thing?"
no
Hey,
one's
and-
gonna ever stop playing Jumpers.
And the Sansa loss is because Simone refused to play jumpers, right? That's how he ended up Sansa.
Yeah. He had the one bad round of the day for, like, absolutely bad round for Lannister was against Stark. That was our one, like, really
I
good.
have a good anecdote for Simone from Thrones War. So,
Somebody was great at Thrones War, by the way.
oh, he was awesome. I
He
loved having
was.
Simone
I
there.
agree.
But
It
the
was good.
the morning after Thrones War, we're kind of sitting in Ryan's living room, and we're just talking about the tournament from yesterday. We're getting ready to go over for round 2, and Simone goes, he's just kind of in shock that he went 4-0. It's a 7 rounds of Swiss, and he went 4-0 and then lost the last 3 in a row. And I was like, "What happened, man?" And he just kind of like he gives me the 1,000-yard stare, like he's looking through me, and he just goes, "I don't think I've ever lost 3 games in a row in my life." And then he said it was like watching life created in front of me. It was this transcendental moment for him where he lost 3 in a row, and he was just like, "What is reality?" Anyways, we had a good laugh over it. He was a really good sport about taking those 3 losses in a row
That's
and
amazing.
then missing the cut. Yeah.
He definitely lived the scrub life at Thrones War.
He did. He had a good time.
He did. Simone was fantastic at Thrones War. In fact, everybody was fantastic. It was a drama-free, really wonderful, like, experience that easily was probably the best tournament I've attended in Thrones so far.
Ooh, high praise.
We were very glad to have you, Roy.
I was happy to be there.
It's also the first big one that Roy was at without me, so it got extra bonus points for that.
I missed you, Aaron. I missed you.
Aaron's not here to bring me down, make me feel
Next
bad
year.
about myself.
Next year,
I've-
but
I've never made Roy feel bad about his throne self ever.
That is not actually 100% true.
When did I do that?
So actually, there's
Ooh.
two people. When I
Anybody got the detergent? We're about to air some laundry.
so when my there are exactly two people who have been next to me as I've watched my Thrones success evaporate in front of me, and both of those people have been Aaron Glazer and Dave Stroms. And actually, Aaron was better. So I was losing to Patrick Haynes in the Uncommon Store Championship, and it was Patrick was getting his revenge because I beat him because he forgot that the night plot gives renown to all the and immune to events, so he thought he could drac my character that was going to win on the 15th power, but he couldn't do that. And I beat him in the Swiss. So we were in the cut, and he was just owning me. And I was losing, and Aaron and I locked eyes, and Aaron was like, "You just scrubbed out, Rogers." Like, he had this look that was like, "You just, like, scrubbed out." Like,
Did I say it, or just was
you didn't say
it
it.
written on
We
me?
had eye contact, and I was just like, "Ugh." I wanted to, like, collapse in my chair at that point. But that still was not as bad and not as, like, feel bad as... This is actually a good, also a Simone story, which is at Gen Con 2015 when I was in the top 16 playing Steve Simone, and I just got destroyed by Simone. Like, that game was over in like 2 plots. Aaron was unbelievably out of his mind at that point and was wandering the convention hall. But Dave Strom just sitting next to me watching me play, and after Simone beats me, he like puts his hand on my shoulder in a very fatherly way, and I'm just like, oh, this is the worst. I've just watched months of practice evaporate in front of me.
Okay, son.
Embarrassingly.
You did better than I did at that tournament.
No. It's true, I did.
You made the cut.
The only person in NYC that did better than me was Dan, which is 100% what should be the case. So, anyway, but that was a good tournament. That was the second best. That's behind this Thrones War experience.
Whatever. I won 2 games without being able to form full sentences.
It's true. You were on the bubble, man.
I went 4-2. I was 2-2. I lost to someone from DC and Struhal, because Struhal beats me, and I, let's just say, had some chemical interactions and had no business on Earth playing more Thrones. And I played 2 more games and I won, and I don't remember anything about them.
That's true.
I remember they had to like carry me home.
But anyway, back to Thrones War. So where were we? So Johnny won. Sid did well. Simone scrubbed out. Stark was just above scrubbing out. Yeah.
I want to say just the fact that Thrones War exploded, like doubled in size this year, and somehow ran smoother and better than it ever has is 100% a props to Ryan for just running what I think is the best community run tournament in the country right now by far. I mean, Worlds and Gen Con, they're their own thing. But
you've never been to Red Saturday? So
no, but you've never been to Thrones War, and Roy just called it the best tournament experience of his life. So you're on the outside looking in right now, Glazer.
That's because he was flown to California, but it's fine.
You still live in the high, and so am I.
I mean, I have specific, like, I can specifically compare Red Saturday to Thrones War if you like want to get technical about it, which is not a criticism of either of them. The thing about Thrones War that makes it so good is that there was food, like, at the event. Like, we had an actual lunch at the event, like, and you didn't have to leave. And the people who wanted to drink, like the Sandys and the Johns and all that stuff when they scrubbed out, could just start drinking at the event.
Was drinking. None of the Johns drink.
I thought that one of them did.
You're talking about James?
James, sorry. James.
Spec, yeah.
Spec.
I was like,
sorry.
I didn't even need to know which James. Like, yeah, that sounds like Spec.
When they got on the stream, like you could just do it at the event. You didn't have to go across the street from the bar.
Do you have any idea how many times I've been drunk at our Thrones tournaments by drinking at the
that
event?
makes you a degenerate.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know,
but I'm with Sandy's. It's
but,
the exact same
like you have to go to the
Exactly.
bar. You have to sneak food, like sneak beer. It's just like it was more open space. Like the thing is, like New York, we just can't do an experience that's quite like Thrones War without Sandy renting a hall. Like it's just like not something that's going to happen. So the experience is overall better for Thrones War. That's not like a criticism of Red Saturday, which
I'm telling Dan and Dave.
That's fine. Whatever.
Tell them how they can improve
think
so
the
that they're as
team-
good as Thrones War.
I'm the one-
I agree. It's a great idea.
Sorry, Johnny. You had a-
The team aspect, I think the team aspect of Thrones War adds a ton too. Like there are no meaningless games for this event. Like there's always a reason to be going because it's not just about you. Like you can be 0-6 and getting a win last round adds something to the rest of your team, and that's a huge huge part of the event as well.
It's true. You could be forced to play out a game against your friend that you don't need to make the cut because it would give your team another win, and deny your friend the cut when you have a bad matchup, and there was no point in playing that game, which was basically decided.
But then your team could win the whole thing, and you could be
true.
its best, and you can be tied for its best performer. So
that's true. Yeah, that's the thing. But that's what the team event does. It makes every game matter.
You have to count the draft as a whole event in and of itself, which is a blast, especially for the Kings, of course. And we try to kind of bring it to everybody this year. But once the draft is over, the teams assemble, they're in their little enclave and they're practicing and they're throwing deck ideas against the wall. Like it's the most fun stretch of Thrones prep time that I experience. Like forget Worlds prep, forget Kubla prep or Store Champ or anything else. Like Thrones War prep is the most fun you'll have with a like-minded group of Thrones guys as you're trying to figure out how to win. It's so much fun.
I agree. Yep, I totally agree with you, Sid. I think that it's a very different feeling. I love the Worlds prep myself. Like I just getting super deep in the tank and super serious with a bunch of very competitive players is great. But the sort of puzzle that comes with having teams and requiring multiple agendas and figuring out what your house can do and figuring out what the meta game of the tournament means. Like this was the first year, for reference, this is the first year that we'd done the specific team-on-team matchups. Previous years, it's been Swiss pairings where you simply eliminated your own teammates. You couldn't play your own teammates, but you could play anybody else. So you'd still have to play for a semi-standard metagame. Whereas this was, you're facing every team exactly once. What's the ramifications of that?
Oh, are you? That's cool.
What
it was really cool.
Works?
It was very cool. That was one of the better aspects of it. I think also what it does is it's an argument for why highly competitive Thrones should be played as a team. Like in general, like if there's lots of people out in the community who don't understand why you have the SoCal people who build as a team, or the DC people, or the Brotherhood, or the New York people, like we build as a team because what it does is it creates a sense of camaraderie. You can bounce ideas off each other, but also when you're doing poorly, you still have other people you can cheer for, like people who you can watch a deck that you help build with these people climb, even if your own day is not the best, right? It creates this shared experience that I think Thrones War models, that I think people should take that Thrones War community attitude and shift it into Gen Con, shift it into World, shift it into Nationals, where it shows that team play is just a lot of fun because it takes some of the randomness of Swiss and takes some of the randomness of card games out of the experience. So you may be doing poorly or your friend may be doing poorly, but you're all part of this communal effort to sort of make your team go further.
But our team had some people had babies and had some people quit the game and some people moved to fucking Philadelphia for some reason. So I mean,
it's true.
Other teams, noobs.
It's true.
Damn you, Fitches, and your fertility.
Yeah, right. I miss them too.
Yeah, they're fantastic people. The Fitches.
Every once in a while, I click a post and Brits made a comment, and it always makes my day.
Any other Thrones War thoughts?
I want to get Buzz's perspective because he's been silent there, stroking his beard for the last 25 minutes.
Buzz
I want to know the outsider. Like the outsider, what does the European player think of Thrones War? Do you just ignore it? You're like, Thrones War, it matters not, or do you think about it? Are you like, I wonder what's going on in Thrones War?
I missed the stream for one, and I haven't touched the game since Dalek, so I have no clue what people think about it or what I think about it. So,
for sure, he doesn't ignore it because he messaged me earlier and said, "Hey, where are the good Martell decks? I need to play.
Of course.
I need to play tomorrow." So he's not ignoring.
There has
like,
been
he
a
knows.
number of private messages on Facebook going out.
He's looking. He wants to take advantage of the data collection and all the brainstorming that went into the event. He's like, so what's the best?
Yeah, so you just mentioned that you have, 8 different teams that have brainstormed a lot of decks. Most of the people are from the SoCal meta, so there's supposed to be a few good decks in there, but
So definitely are. There were some spicy decks There's
Did
some
he
spicy
just-
that
I
should have come out of it.
haven't
Did he
seen so
just
much
shit
of it.
out shade on you guys?
Just a
Oh,
little
man.
bit. A
No.
little.
They're supposed to be interesting
Yeah,
decks,
yeah,
but
yeah.
all I've seen
I-
so far, piles of shit.
Exactly. So I expected
I think-
more of you because I put you up
I-
to a high standard, right?
Like,
The-
your
the
last
only
two
good
tournament
deck
wins were
is the
SoCal
one
decks,
I've
right,
got from
Buzz?
Yeah, I'm
Lucas.
pretty sure aren't you like just co-opting SoCal decks for all your tournament wins
Yeah,
now,
of
Buzz?
course.
Come on, man.
And I
Come on.
need better decks than this.
We'll do
Come on,
better.
guys.
We'll do better next time. I promise. Promise, Buzz.
Well, I play SoCal decks and I play Sam Bratz decks.
That's true.
50-50, so
It's a good combination.
yes.
Heck yeah.
That's what why I haven't been active here right now is because you just sent me a deck for today.
I say I want a Sam Bratz deck. Those things are fun.
Yes. Oh, they're so stupid.
Oh,
They're so stupid.
So what's up next?
Wait, hang on. Do we know if this is still Sam Bratz's side game? Because I think that's my favorite thing about all of Bratz's success.
What
He
is
still
his
plays
main
Magic,
game?
right? Well, he played Magic or plays
I
Magic.
Yeah,
think
no.
he did play Magic, but I don't know how seriously they take
No,
it.
no, he used to be serious. Like, he was a Magic player who just, like, they handed a deck and won Worlds. He had played, like, 10 games before he won Worlds or something
Sure,
stupid
No,
like that.
no, he was
Oh,
at
cards.
the Worlds the
The
previous
first,
year.
the first
Yeah,
world.
but he was just, like, dragged there the previous year.
Yeah, that was the year he was dragged there and only played 10 games. The year after, he had become the Bratz, where he just, like,
Oh, rats.
played like crazy to get ready. I
I don't
a
think
false
that's
narrative.
true. As
For
far
the
as
year
I'm
he
aware,
won? Oh, yeah.
the first year he won,
I
as
think
far
he
as I'm
played- yeah,
aware, he didn't play that deck, at least that deck much, and there were
That
cards that
deck.
he didn't
I
know what
agree
he
that
did.
deck.
Maybe
yes.
not that deck, but he was already like fully entrenched into the preparation
I mean,
schedule of those guys.
we could find out. So
He won against Alvaro, right, in 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we watched the stream, and holy shit, we trashed his plays so much. He played so bad in the final, and he still won. Oh my god!
yeah, he just
That
ran
game,
him over.
that game was a roller coaster, like just real.
It was I won on the draw game. It happens, man.
Yeah.
Even in the better game that no longer exists.
Roy, your audio's gone.
Don't tell him.
Is that better?
Yeah, now
better?
you're back.
You might
Okay.
say stuff again.
I apologize.
You looked like you were really like into whatever you were saying. Too.
We,
Well, I was
we
just-
were we were totally on a tangent.
Yes, I was trying to
Roy-
bring the tangent around.
Yeah, Roy's not bringing us back on track. This is awesome.
So before we move on to sort of wrapping the episode up and looking forward into what the metagame will be. So what for the four of us who were there, what was the biggest surprise of the meta at Thrones War? Like what represented in a way that you didn't necessarily think was great?
I think the lack of wall and watch manners. I thought Martel would have 3. I thought Tyrell would have 3, and they had 1 and 2 respectively. I think our team really focused on beating wall decks and then didn't really play against them. So that was a little unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do the reverse of that. I expected some Banner Kraken, but I didn't literally expect like every fucking deck I played against to be Banner Kraken. And if I see a Victarion, like I want to curl into a ball and cry a little bit more. Like it definitely hammered home for me that Vic is just Vic OP restrict. Like listen to
Hey.
next week's white book. Anyway, it's a
Where everyone starts out telling Glazer he's wrong and ends the episode going, "Yeah, fine, you win."
sort of.
Oh,
Anyway,
that
no
doesn't
spoilers.
sound like an episode I want to listen to.
No spoilers. No spoilers. Anyway, but Victarion and sort of Banner Kraken being everywhere, including in the final. It was a mirror. It was a Banner Kraken versus Tard
Tard
Kraken.
Kraken.
Yeah. So, that sort of shows you what the Thrones War metagame was.
Multiple sea bitches in a single challenge phase. Oh, it's just gross.
Wait, how?
Everybody's-
Is Seabitch not unique? Because I
It-
clearly
it's-
don't
it-
play
no,
it.
no, they both were running it, and
Oh,
and Maluch stole whatever it was.
Red Keep and then
Stole Red Keep, and then then Kevin used his sea bitch to steal it right back. I was like,
and
what
well,
are you guys doing?
Tom initially wanted to try the steal a sea bitch to sea bitch another location play, but that was ruled as not Not
Put a
legal.
stop to that right away.
Wait, why is that not legal?
Because
when you initiate the action,
I don't
you
want
have
to
have
know
a
this.
legal target.
I don't want to know this. I don't care.
You already control a copy of
Yeah,
Seabitch.
yeah. I don't care. I'm not gonna. I don't want to learn the rules of this game. I don't like it enough. I'm not memorizing that bullshit. It's fine.
Just don't do it. It's not fun.
Just remember, no one sea bitch is a sea bitch. You can't sea bitch a sea bitch.
it's just a bitch of a play. So.
Yeah.
So how about you, Johnny? Or Sid? Which are yours?
You go, Johnny. I'm still contemplating my answer to this question.
Yeah, those were the two big things I think. Really, like, I expected a ton of banner watch,
Which would have ended your game.
That's not true. I took out as hard as I could against like wall decks for being Martel, and so did everyone else on the team, and it wasn't there. And I'm still not sure entirely why, because I think most houses can put together a really good banner watch deck.
Yeah, we looked at ours and just realized that everybody else could do it better than us. So we figured if everybody's teching against it in general, we don't want to be the ones like playing a crap version of it.
You were Stark, right?
That makes
sense.
sense. Stark's probably the one that really.
Yeah, you definitely
really
don't want to do that.
I mean, we definitely ran into the trouble that Stark doesn't have the best banner.
You know what? I bet you a Stark.
The Stark Banner Lion was great.
Stark Banner Lion was great.
Banner Stag is the one deck that I really wanted to explore more.
Yeah, that should have been fine. Like I was thinking about that the other day. Yeah, because you win the dominance, you get the little extra down before you know it, the game's over.
No, it probably would have been fine. I agree.
Yeah,
would have been,
but no one asked me, so.
I actually did ask.
Instead, I asked a couple other people. And it worked out. I'll ask this. I have a question for my other two kings. Did either of you bring in any outside assistance to your team? Did you add any people to your forum that were not players on your team that were, outsiders?
We bounced deck ideas off people. Yeah, for sure.
Johnny's being very coy.
Johnny definitely did. I know.
I thought Sid was talking.
Oh, I did. I did.
Sid was talking.
Yeah. Do you want more? I'm not gonna name names right now, but yeah, for sure. We looked out and sought out certain people who we thought were strong with Tyrell, and a few people sought us out.
Ooh.
I spoke to at least 4 people about their decks.
I know Bamford definitely talked to you, right, Johnny?
Oh, I miss Bamford.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I miss Bamford. I mean, that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone.
In the group. Yeah.
Now, I'll even tell you, Wama gave us an amazing deck like 2 days before Thrones War. I was like, oh, this is so cool, but
no one's tested it.
No one has time to play this, man. But thank you. Actually, I did. I did test it a few times, and it was fun, but couldn't make it work in time. Oh, I've got my surprise.
Really
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Johnny.
The deck was really similar to the Stag banner that we brought out of Martel. It's crazy how close those two decks were. Like, developed totally separate, but the banner package and the plots and everything were almost very close to like card for card, which is interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Sid, what is your surprise?
All right, my surprise was the ignominious fall of Team Lannister to the very bottom of the trash heap. And
really?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that they were at the bottom for sure. Okay. I mean, I know they spent a whole lot of money. Steve went out there and dropped a huge chunk of change on getting Team Lannister, but I really thought that they would still have middle of the pack to near the top of the pack wins, only because, man, it doesn't matter who you give a good Lannister deck to, they're gonna get some wins, right? They're gonna.
Apparently it does.
Apparently not, though. Apparently I was mistaken.
Hey,
I was mistaken.
Guys, I'm ditching out. I'm going to bed.
All right, Glazer.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect them to win the team event.
Sorry, shut up.
Why are you screaming?
I don't know how to hang up.
But I did not expect them to get dead last, no question, and no chance of really getting anything but last, right? It was like, oh my gosh, Team Lannister, what's going on? So, yeah, that was my surprise.
I think it's a pretty reasonable one. Like, it didn't entirely surprise me, not from like the team perspective, but I think it's easier to target Lannister. Like, I felt like people were gonna look to take advantage of Banner, Lion, and Lannister, like, to get wins. Like, teams would be like, if we tech hard against Banner, Lion, and Lannister, we can get some free wins. Like Night's Watch, you can tech against, as Team Stark learned, you can tech against Night's Watch, and if you don't run into Night's Watch, you're kind of fucked. And then still sometimes, when you run Night's Watch, sometimes you just get the wall going. And I feel like if we had there were definitely times where if I had shifted my deck a little bit more to targeting Lannister, I think my deck would have been a little bit more solid, particularly against Chris and the Martell and the Greyjoy matchup that I ran into that I just got run over by Greyjoy. I think it would have been a slightly stronger deck, but because I only played I never played a wall deck actually all day. So the Night's Watch matchup was an aggro Night's Watch matchup. So that I should have won, but I totally forgot that raiding Longship is not scouting vessel. So
pro tip.
That first player bit just kind of messed you up there.
Yeah, that part. Read cards. Anyway, so I definitely think Lannister. I'm not surprised actually that Lannister was sort of where it was. But all right, so that sort of brings Thrones War to a conclusion. Any quick final thoughts for people?
Not really. Other than it's definitely, if we haven't said it enough, the master of the feast. Like, none of this would have happened without Ryan. Like, he really did so much work and put a ton of his heart and his effort into this. And I know he's. I'm kind of hoping he's not watching right now, because he said if he wants less Thrones War in his life, not more Thrones War in his life right now. So I'm hoping he's relaxing with a beer or something as opposed to watching us nerds. But just a shout out to him if he ever watches this episode later, that all the work and putting this together and the coordination and getting all the volunteers and finding someone awesome to do food and finding those awesome alt arts, like, just so much went into it, and he really killed it. It was great.
100%, and particularly the Jones family in general. Like, just shout out to all of them. You know, they all sacrificed a huge chunk of their time for a game that they don't really play or play at all. You know, it's just a massive thing that shows how much they love Ryan, and just the commitment of that family to our community, which is really, really impressive. Like, insane.
Sure.
So, yeah. All right.
Can I go one real quick too?
Yeah, of course.
Because like, similar to that too, that like I get to be here, but like the reason like anyone cares that I'm wearing an orange shirt maybe is because I just had a great group of people that like I worked with, and a really fun team that got contributions from everyone, like top to bottom, all through the day. So I don't know if any of them are in the room or not, but thanks to them all as well for being great to work with and play with. So.
Well said.
Well said indeed. So before I sort of sign us all off, what I want to do is, knowing who knows with Suns, we may come back next week with a new episode, or we may not. Who knows? With the way Suns has been going.
See you in 2018, everybody. It's
great. We're gonna try and be more regular. We did have a little bit of a powwow.
We're taking some pills for it. It's kind of messy.
Yeah, with a couple of the hosts when I was down there about some ideas when we can't quite get the entire gang together of options, but we still want to do an episode. So, but anyway, the regional season the Store Championship season ends this Wednesday. Regional season's around the corner. What I want you all to do is sort of tell me one thought that you take away from the Store Championship season, and then one sort of prediction or thought you have about the meta going into the regional season. So sort of give me a reflection on Store Championships and give me a sort of prediction about the regional season. And I will start with Buzz, because Buzz has barely spoken, but he's done. So let's do it.
Prediction for regionals? Oh, man.
Yeah, and a takeaway from Store Championships.
Oh, I'm playing my first Store Championship today in a few hours. So, I don't know.
So
I have no idea about the meta at all.
So we expect you to come with the buy card. You'll be flashing it.
Sure, why not? No, I think I'm excited for digging back into Thrones and see what Martell has to offer, and see if we can figure out some fun Lana builds that the people respect you for winning tournaments with. Because I love Lannister, it's my house. But if I win a tournament with it, it's like, yeah, but you know.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So yeah, bring back Martell and do something fun with Lanny. I am looking forward to that.
Johnny, how about you?
It's tough. Like this store championship season, like made me miss that Lannister meta, which is really like I never thought like I would ever feel it. But like the Iron Mines and Kraken everywhere, and then Waldex on the other side, like is less fun for me than like the Lannister big guys, and that's surprising to me. So I hope something comes along to like clear that up. I think it probably takes like a restricted list to really move us off that. But that's my, like, I don't know if that's too much of a downer, but that's my store championship reflection. And predictions is Tyrell gets gross. Like that Marge that got spoiled a few weeks ago is I think I hate that card. Like I don't hate any other cards, and it's also going to be an issue going forward.
Chris.
Store championship season, I think and maybe this was a little bit of the lead out from Worlds, but we were talking about it last night that, you know, seeing decks like the Wall and its various, like starting with Night's Watch Fealty, but then going to Thrones War and seeing that Martell Banner of the Watch is just Night's Watch Fealty with Gaffin Grey, and Tyrell Banner of the Watch is Night's Watch Fealty with the Arbor and Highgarden and Pleasure Barge. Like, I think we all knew that at some point that deck was going to get gross, and we just didn't really realize how quickly that would happen.
Well, you just put the Haunted Forest, like, I mean.
Sure. And there's no doubt that that's definitely part of the problem. But the speed at which that deck got annoying and awful. Sorry, Joe. I'm sure you're out there listening and crying into your beer, but it's no fun for anyone but you.
And me. I had fun playing.
And this is coming from somebody who played a Tyrell Watch deck last night. Much to the chagrin of some of my metamates. It is so it's weird because it's not fun and it is fun. Like it's terrible to play against, no doubts about that. But to me, it's not Thrones, but it is a different game. Like it's a puzzle that you have to like piece together. Okay, now I need this thing, and now I need that thing, and whether that puzzle is too easily pieced together or not, it's not really for me to say. Maybe, but I think that's my takeaway from Store Championship season. And then going into regional season, I would say not to make more sad predictions like Johnny did, but I'd say Alliance is going to be a problem. I think that's my prediction, is that somebody's going to come up with, there's going to be 2 or 3 really dumb alliances out there, and people are going to be like, why did we do this?
Tyrell Alliance to Stark Lion.
I don't know. I feel like we can see like what the restricted list, like what the centerpiece restricted list cards are going to be for like the next 2 years probably. It's going to be the Wall, it's going to be Marjorie, and Alliance.
I mean, right. I'm a little bit more Marge skeptical than you are, Johnny. Like,
I know.
We'll see.
But I think Chris is right.
She's good.
Sid,
I'll echo what my 2 California players said. First, I'll talk about Store Championship season. My Store Championship kind of games. I only played in 2, and it's pretty skewed because they fell right into like prime Thrones War prep time. So I knew I was going to play Tyrell because it was going to give me competitive reps, right, with different Tyrell decks. And I played 2 totally different Tyrell decks at both Store Championships. I ended up playing the one I played at the most recent Store Championship at Thrones War. But what it allowed me to do was really dive into a faction that I kind of just shoved aside and never really bothered doing any heavy building with until I picked them for Thrones War. So I fell in love with Tyrell. I think it's an amazing house. As I said previously, we ended up in our team with 5 different agendas because we just kind of kept finding cool decks, right? We keep building and throwing something against the wall, and we test it out and be like, wow, this works too, and this kind of works too, and this works too. And I don't even think we got to the bottom at all of it. Like I said, Wama sent us a totally different deck just before Thrones War, and I was like, this looks like a great deck. So, and then you see Marjorie, and I just think Tyrell works best right now than any other house when you add a banner to it. I think it can do Summer amazing. It can do Fealty, it can do Crossing, it can do tons of stuff. I think it is going to be kind of the story of regional season will be Tyrell. I'll echo both Chris and Johnny. I just think they're going to wreck Faith, and I can't wait. I mean, I'm going to play him, I'm sure, at a regional, not my Thrones War deck, because I played that enough. Like, I got enough games in with that gross Tyrell Watch deck, which I say gross, but I loved it. I love that deck. It's so nasty. It's fantastic. But I think Tyrell can do so much right now. They can do so many things, and people haven't really started to test out what they can do. And with Marjorie, gross. I love it.
I guess my Star Championship sort of mark would be how weirdly unimpressive Stark is currently, like particularly Stark Fealty. Like, and I don't mean this in like a hater way. I just mean this in the now having played, like I played at all but one Store Championship season, one Store Championship. Stark. I played Night's Watch in one, did okay, and then I won one, and then did okay at 2 other Store Championships, or 3 other Store Championships with Stark, and then I played a bunch of Stark Fealty at Thrones War, and just I think Stark. It's okay against the stall, and it's okay against the big guys, and it's okay against the the aggressive valors of Banner Kraken or Greyjoy. It just doesn't have any of those illuminating matchups that it used to have, and it sort of doesn't really. It puts itself really awkwardly in the meta, where it's like a 55-60% deck where it has no truly horrible matchups, but it doesn't have any like, oh, if I queue into Tyrell, I'll just run over Tyrell. It's more of a, well, if I see the right cards, I'll win this. If I don't see the right cards, well, hopefully they'll draw poorly too. And that sort of puts Stark in a really awkward place, and it'll be interesting to see what the next cycle does for Stark. I'm always bullish, but we'll see. Particularly for second cycle, that deck that won Florian's deck from stock can still be played, and I won a Star Championship literally playing card for card that deck. Dark Naj built it for Red Saturday, came in the top 8, and I literally just played that deck the day I won the Star Championship because I didn't have time to build anything else that week. It's still really good, and it has 0 second cycle cards in it, as far as I know. Buzz, do you remember? Does it have any second cycle cards, the deck that won Stalic? I don't think it does. I think it just has for...
Did Stark win Stalic? I don't remember.
Anyway, it does. Anyway, it has a low number of second cycle cards, right? So Stark's in a weird place. And I'm going to move us away from Tyrell and actually move us towards Night's Watch. And I think in the regional season, the Night's Watch discard deck, which I think is kind of weirdly almost there, is going to take off. I feel like Old Bear Mormont, if you haven't seen the new Old Bear, is going to open up a lot of...
Talking about new Bear Mormont?
New Bear Mormont. New Old Bear Mormont. Middle of the road Mormont. Opens up some serious space. He's the right kind of cost, not too high. 6 is like the right cost slot for an impactful character. I think the last Old Bear was a little too expensive for what he did. This one, hand destruction, putting stuff in their discard pile, and then stealing it, I think is going to be a legitimate strategy for Night's Watch again.
Right.
Since this time last year.
Seeing him reminded me of that great Night's Watch, Kraken, right? 3x Varus, 3x Yorin, 2 Marched, where you're just discarding everything off the board and protecting your key guys now with against something like a Valor or Kills with Iron Mines. I think I can't wait to play that deck with the new bear. Yeah, new old bear.
Oof. Well, there's that event too, right? The 2-cost event. I was just looking at Thrones DB, right? The when a character is placed in the discard pile and it's 5 cost or lower, put it into play, right? It's like 2 costs. Now my watch begins, I think.
Yeah, just more ways to get the discard guys into play.
Yeah, just some reprehensible bullshit. I think
they have to fill out the words, right? They have to get through the whole poem.
So we're getting way down.
So I think that's yeah. I think I'm more worried about Night's Watch and not necessarily Night's Watch defense going forward. I feel like Night's Watch is going to be the new Lannister. That we're going to see a lot of archetypes that people fucking hate, and the Wall will just be one of them.
Good.
One of many.
Variety of ways to hate them. That's good.
Yeah, what variety of ways to hate people who play cards, Night's Watch cards. So I think that brings us to a natural conclusion. Does anybody have anything else they want to add?
Nope.
No, man.
Okay. Well, I will do one quick thing and soft announce that because I haven't gotten the exact date because the store hasn't got back to me, that I will be running a big tournament at the end of April. One of either the last Saturday or the second to last Saturday here in Philadelphia. I just lined up the alternate art card artists for all of my alt art cards. We'll be giving an alt art Time of Plenty and a alt art Bear faction card for the top 8. So everybody who shows up gets the Time of Plenty, and the top 8 gets the Bear House card plus mats for the top 4, featuring the Time of Plenty art. All that's locked up. I have a secret card that I'm not ready to announce yet that will be coming down the pike once I have everything locked up. I have some big announcements for that. So yeah, that's sort of what's going to be dominating my Thrones life for the foreseeable future is planning this event, which I really hope if you're on the East Coast, you should come to Philadelphia because I'm not as good as Ryan, but I do organize excellent tournaments, and it'll be a good time. So
I've got one little plug too. Are you done? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you watch Thrones War, anybody out there watch Thrones War on the stream or were there and had a great time, like right now is kind of California community run tournament season. We have a lot. Like next month in March is Battle of Bravos up in the Bay Area. In April is Kingdom Con in San Diego. And then in May is Kubla Khan back up in the Bay Area. So people, if you're in California or thinking of coming to California, we have like 3 really big tournaments that draws a ton of people from California and beyond. And it's a great time. So if you saw Thrones War and you're like, oh, I want to go next year, you don't have to wait till next year to come play Thrones with all of us. Like, we're doing it for the next 3 months. So you guys should come out to one of those 3 big tournaments at least. That's my plug.
Yep.
Yep.
Buzz, anything?
Go win your store championship tomorrow.
Yeah, start playing
Buzz.
Thrones again,
Tomorrow.
Buzz. Jeez, I like you better when you know cards and what's happening in the Thrones world.
Sure, we miss hyper competitive Buzz. We miss Noob Crusher Buzz.
Yeah.
Who tells people to just get better.
This Buzz was like, what's one Stalik? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't like
it's a new season, you know.
So you just became an Italian Russian in that moment.
That's nice.
It's a new season.
It just snows. Anyway, Johnny, how about you?
Thanks for having me on, guys. It's a lot of fun.
Always.
So, yeah,
Thanks, Johnny.
sorry to bring down the energy in the room.
No, please. Glazer left, so we were actually able to have a mildly productive conversation, which is super appreciative. Oh, wait, I'll give you spoilers. If you want to listen to a lot of people having a really unproductive conversation, you should definitely listen to next week's White Book, which consists of Will, Luke, and I arguing with Aaron for like 90 minutes. So if you like that kind of
Sounds
content,
great.
that'll be fun for you. Anyway, I think we'll just wrap it up. I should go to bed. My lady friend has been very generous and has allowed me to do this until almost, until well past midnight. So have a wonderful time, people, until we see you. So next time, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.